Hello everyone and welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video, I'm just giving an update that my Purge Trooper helmet is completed, as you can see here. And I want to give a little brief overview of what I did to the helmet to get it from how it was in the last video to what it is now. So the first thing I did was test paint, and this is something anyone should do with anything really. Test it on something you don't care about first before you do it. What I ended up using, something I saw from some spray paint videos on YouTube, is using just plastic spoons to test your paint combinations and how they affect each other. I thought that was a great idea, so I'm sharing it with you as well. Just using plastic spoons, what is that? A couple cents per spoon, and you can test, an entire layer or 3 of paint to see how it looks. I think that's pretty good. So that's what I did first. I found out from doing that testing that white would be the best undercoat to make this gray and the black pop the most. So that's what I did. I first took the helmet, did 2 light coats of white over the entire thing. I then did sort of about this big of an area on either side with the dark gray. Again, 2 coats of that. But then how do you do the whole helmet? Well, I just took some blue painter's tape, put that over where I wanted to keep gray, gave it 2 light coats of white again, and then 2 or maybe 3 light coats of the black. Afterwards, I peeled the tape off, resulting in this, of course, and then 2 coats of a glossy finisher. This is something that would make the helmet look more uniform in terms of its reflection, along with giving some protection in the long run. Now there's these detail pieces that I did separately. They did a bit differently. I did those a bit differently. I just sprayed the black right over the fillable sandable primer, which is that sort of light gray material that the helmet was like in the last video, and then did 2 coats of a flat top coat on them. So although there isn't much of a difference on camera, maybe there is some, there is definitely a visible difference between the 2. And that's what I was going for, so I'm happy it turned out that way. But that's not all I did to the helmet. First thing you can see is this visor. So how did I do that? Well, on Amazon you can get this sort of one-way window film in red. That's exactly what I got. This one-way window film in red works with the brighter side can see through, but the darker side, or the other way around. The darker side can see through, but the lighter side cannot. So if you were to put this on your window, your room, which is darker than the outside, can see out, but people outside cannot see in. It's also why it tells you on the instructions of these to put your blinds down after sunset, because it works the opposite way too, where since it's brighter in your room, but it's darker outside, people outside could see in, but you couldn't see out. So I just did that over a clear plastic sheet, and then cut it out to fit in the helmet. Just sort of slight bend to it, and it is held in with some pieces of duct tape. It's not super glued in or anything, just because I want the ability to replace it. If for whatever reason it was damaged or needed replacement, I could, without having to make a whole new helmet. Also on the inside is where a lot of the later work came into, because after I painted it, I still had some stuff to do. So I'm not sure. Yeah, okay. With this flashlight you can see there are 5 pieces of foam, 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom, and 1 on each side, along with 1 straight at the top. Then there are 2 pieces connecting these helmet straps on either side. Just pieces of foam, and those are all super glued in. They aren't moving. The way I fit them to my head is just folding a piece of tape over itself to get a double-sided piece, sticking the foam about where I thought it would be good, and then trying on the helmet a few different times and adjusting by a little bit, just millimeters or something, to make it fit perfectly. And for these helmet straps, along with some of these other pieces of foam that aren't just some squares, I sacrificed a helmet identical to this one. This is an airsoft helmet that I've used, and I bought a second one because I like the straps. So I thought I could put them in this helmet, and I did. The straps are just held in with these screws. You can see the back one is this screw right here. And if you dismantle the helmet, you can easily just take those off. And they're on little metal tabs with a hole in the middle for the screw. And then those Velcro, or those other foam pieces, are held into this helmet with Velcro. So you can easily just take them off and, say, super glue them into another helmet. And again, that's what I did. Of course, metal doesn't really work with the super glue, at least the one that I used. I just used some Gorilla super glue, and you know, it was just liquid. It was like falling all over the place. It wasn't gluing anything. So my solution to that was take a small piece of foam, sort of use it as a sandwich to go over that metal tab, like this. And because there's a hole somewhat like this in the middle, the foam could super glue to itself as well as on the outside of it. Ended up being a really strong connection, and then of course the foam glues really easily because the glue gets absorbed into it. So then I just put those where I wanted them and super glued them in. Of course, I can't leave you off without showing what it's like when it's on. It of course is fitted to me, and the straps are as well. Fits nice and snug. I can shake it around. It's not going to fly off. And regarding the question for that other video, to drill some holes somewhere sort of around the mandibles, I decided not to do that. I can always do it later, but I just decided not to for aesthetic purposes, to not have holes there. And it seems to work fine so far. Of course, I'd actually have to wear it for a day and like walking around at some convention for it to really know for sure, but so far it is really good. I would definitely do something like this again, and I recommend you try it too. Of course, not a Purge Trooper helmet if that's not what you like, but you know, just find a helmet or a piece of armor or something and just go for it. It might not end up perfect, and you know, this helmet might look really good on the camera, the 1080p camera, but in person you can still see some of those print lines, see some little paint trails from when I was still not that good at spray painting, but in the end it all came together good, and I'm definitely happy with it. And again, I'd recommend you to try something like that. This is a great time, great thing to do to take time. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I may or may not see you all later. Bye!